that's never gonna get old. Is it?
Until we upgrade even further. Sorry, my microphone is nowhere near my mouth. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, I do. I wish it was a little longer.
I mean, for what we've done so far, for you putting it together over a night, I am very happy with what you've done. Thank you, Perri.
Like, I wish the music looped twice.
I got you. I mean, can you loop it?
Naturally wants to hear that. Yeah, but then I have to figure out a way to make the graphic longer.
We did fine for so far just playing around with some available funds for us.
I appreciate that. I've got big news for you, Matt.
God, what is it?
I have a different beer tonight.
No, you don't. I don't believe you. I won't believe it till I see it.
Can you be right and wrong at the same time is the question.
You got the Blue Moon Light, didn't you? Yeah, okay. So I got a different beer in my ass. Get out of here.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's going to taste different.
I'm curious. I was going to say, I'm curious to see if you like this.
As someone who drinks Blue Moon every single week, I feel like I'll be able to taste the difference quicker than anybody. Ready?
If there was ever an expert on Blue Moon, yes.
1, 2, 3. All right. Time has come.
Noise. Good can noise.
I'm nervous. It definitely tastes different, but it's pretty good. You know,
I mean,
it's Blue Moon's version of, insert any brand light beer. It's still pretty good though. I prefer regular Blue Moon.
I would try it only because even now for me, Blue Moon's a little heavier than something I want.
That's fair.
So like I stay away from Blue Moons, but I would try the light just to see if that does lighten it up a little bit.
I kind of wish that I had something in the middle of this Blue Moon Light and regular Blue Moon.
I can see that. I don't know if I want the Coors Light version of Blue Moon now that you say it.
I don't think Coors Light is very good at all. I think it's one of the worst of the light beers. Nobody tell Mark Ellis that, but this isn't as bad as that. And I think this I would pick this probably over any other light beer that I've had.
I don't know why, but going to school at Hofstra, for some reason, Coors Light was our go-to light beer. I don't know if it was a Long Island thing or whatever it was, but I drank that for exclusively for 4 years in college. And I did think that was one of the better light beers personally.
When I think about Long Island beer drinking, all I think about is natural ice.
That Jersey was literally, because it was $16 for a 30. So a 30 rack of natural light was $16, and you would just buy it and show up to a party, and then everyone would do the same thing, and you just have all these 30s of Natty Light sitting there getting warm.
There was always all the Natty Light cases, and then a ton of Bacardi Limon bottles.
I know a kid used to drink Hypnotic because he could put it in the blue Gatorade bottle and it would look like blue Gatorade. So you would always just have Hypnotic on him. Yeah, no.
Yeah. Speaking of blue drinks, I got a box in the mail today. Have you seen the movie Voyagers?
Not yet, no.
I didn't bring everything for a show and tell right now, but I did bring this. So they sent me I guess they're basically blue pajamas. I can't really remember what the kids were wearing in the movie, but I guess it was something like that. Then they sent me, I haven't quite figured out what's in the bottle itself, but you're meant to make a mixed drink that looks blue, like the blue drink that they make. And then they also sent me this thing. I'm gonna try to plug it in and see what happens.
You don't know what it does? You didn't plug it in beforehand?
It shot lights out.
Okay.
All right. Dewey's going to go nuts in a minute.
Probably. Okay. Ian just commented there was a minor league baseball team in my college town. They had $1 Natty Lights on Thursday games. I would be there every Thursday.
All right. I'm still here. How do
I hope you are. The lights just went out. I hope nothing happened.
Why is nothing turning on? Oh, because Dewey stepped on the power thing, I think.
Is it gonna shoot some like constellations on your ceiling?
I just saw something happen. Oh, there it goes. Can you see?
Oh yeah, you got some like space going on.
Yeah.
You got some space
oh my
lights.
God. He's freaking out. He's freaking out.
Dewey's like, how did we get into a spaceship?
I wish I could turn my computer so you guys could see him, but he's in an awkward spot. Hey, doesn't everybody want to watch this for the next hour?
Yeah, just talk like that the entire time.
Yeah.
We don't need to see you on camera at all.
Nope, this is good. I wonder if this will like stay and make shit pretty if I turn some of the lights back on. Because
if you got it in a mailer, I want to say that's not good. Actually, I can still see it.
Can you still see it?
Yeah.
And you can still see me?
It's on you now. It's on. I can see it on you.
Like in my.
You need to be behind. You need to be in front of it, and it has to be behind you.
I don't know where to put it. And Jesus Christ, he's going nuts too. Should I just sit here and hold it the whole time?
Yeah, just hold it like this. You're fine. I can see on your shoulder. It's cool.
If someone out there wants another Dewey story, I discovered that Dewey is obsessed with the Ladies' Night Dice Tower that we just got, and we used it on the newest episode recently, so I didn't discover he loved the Dice Tower until we were actually recording. All right,
That's a good. It's always good to find out these things when you're live. It's just the most fun.
Thankfully, Emily Van Camp was a very good sport about it, and she was very amused by him. But usually, ever since I got those other colored lights, which clearly I didn't bother to plug in today, he's usually laying and like warming himself right in front of them. But the second we started playing with the dice, Dewey was all about it.
Just immediately, just like pawing at things.
Mm-hmm. Before we jump into news stories, we should probably tell everybody what the plan is tonight.
Go.
So, we are doing our regular entertainment news conversation and running through all of our favorite stories of the week here. And then instead of playing beer pong, we're going to leave this video and go to another video so that we could do another Patreon Power Hour where me, Matt, and all the members of the Patreon team, we all picked a whole bunch of songs for the playlist. And this time around, they're all cover songs and live performance recordings. So it's going to be a good time. We're going to enjoy some light sky. Why did they call it light sky?
Blue moon. Moon is in the sky. Mm-hmm. The sky is, I don't
think come up with something better than that.
Do it right now on the spot. What's better?
I hate it.
What, just light blue? Like, all right, it could be light blue.
Light blue, and then they make the can light blue. Half moon. Half moon. Or no, it would have to be, it would, if it goes by alcohol percentage, it would be quarter moon. Does that make sense?
Oh,
if you're 6%?
No, it's probably around like a 4 point something.
Oh, this is 4.
Yeah, it should. The alcohol shouldn't go down. The only thing that should go down is the calories, basically.
Really?
Yeah. A light beer is not. It might be a little less, but like if you have a Budweiser versus a Bud Light is basically around the same percentage.
I thought it would be more than that because every time we power hour, you encourage me to drink a lighter one. So I'm like, oh,
right, just because it's easier on your stomach. It has nothing to do with staying more sober. Like it just has to do with maintaining. I will say this. Someone in the chat. Yeah. Oh, okay. It's a 5.
I knew Blue Moon was fairly high.
No, that's fair.
It's not that high.
Somebody in the chat just asked if we were going to get to my thoughts on the Oscars, and I will say if there is a super chat that directs us there, we will gladly tackle that too.
Matt. All right, let's go for our first.
Or we could do it. If you want to do it, we can do it. I just don't know if you want to do that.
Let's go through the stories that we lined up first, so we make sure we hit them. All right. Very first thing is going to be Godzilla versus Kong, because
AKA.
I don't know about you, Matt. I thought that Adam Wingard's latest installment in that franchise was going to be the end of it, but apparently the box office and maybe even the HBO Max numbers have made the studios involved wanted to continue with the franchise. So they're looking to bring Adam Wingard back for another movie in the series. And apparently they're talking about it being Son of Kong, which is interesting to me. But Given what happens in this film and the location they introduce and what they tell Kong he can do if they go there, it does make sense. It's not like it has to be a strict remake of the original Son of Kong. It could be something different that fits into some of the creative doors Adam Wingard just opened with his last movie.
I mean, I was shocked as hell to see there was no after credits scene that was teasing up something bigger incoming. So that did make me think, do they want to stop here? And my initial reaction was they probably don't want to stop here. And the studio confirmed afterwards that they did have plans to do more if they wanted to. And this was definitely a box office ploy to see, let's see how this movie does. Is there enough reason to make another? And yeah, there's plenty of reason to make another because of the box office. So the fact that we have now opened that entire world, that is, so many creatures can now come into the fold. Like, the thing is, we've opened the door. Like you just said, the creative possibilities that are now open because of Godzilla vs. Kong, it's too tempting not to go there. It's just too tempting not to do it with the amount of money that Godzilla vs. Kong already made.
Yeah. And they should. It's one of their biggest brands. I mean, isn't the industry, as far as the big studios go, just one big franchise, Like, they're basically all just amassing franchises. That is largely what gives these studios value. And, obviously Disney is the juggernaut with Star Wars and Marvel in particular. But, now they've got Avatar, and I'm sure there's a bunch of somewhat smaller.
Well, what about like Jurassic World, the Fast and the Furious franchise? Like, everything is franchise based now. Like, exactly what you're saying.
Warner Brothers has
DC.
The Disney films. They've got the Harry Potter films, even though Fantastic Beasts is a bit of a dud, in my opinion. And then, this right here, it's a pretty big deal. And if they're able to continue it and they have the reason to do it now, they might as well.
I never thought there was an issue with doing that. I never hesitated to think that they were going to go forward with another movie. Again, I was thrown because there was no after credits, but I was like, there's no way the MonsterVerse is huge, and the MonsterVerse we did get. Yeah, you're fine. The MonsterVerse, we did get the introduction of Mecha Godzilla. We get the introduction of Godzilla not villains, I guess, just other monsters in King of Monsters. So the door was open. We did see some more, but the universe itself, at least in the source creation, still has a ton of monsters we can get into. It still has a ton of areas we can get into, and there's no reason for. It's Legendary, correct?
Yes, Legendary.
Right. So again, there's no reason for Legendary, especially, to be like, this is our moneymaker. We need to keep going with this.
Yeah. And I hope Adam Wingard really sees this through to the end, because I like what he did with Godzilla vs. Kong. We've obviously spoken about it a good deal, but sometimes it makes me nervous when someone is so busy, or seemingly so busy, because he's been recently attached to so many high-profile projects. It's like
Face Off. I mean, he's working on Face Off.
This, Face Off, and Thundercats, which all seem like things that studios would want to go on, and they all can't happen at once. So I don't know. If here's a question for you, Matt. If you had to choose between waiting for a Godzilla vs. Kong sequel, whatever it winds up being, and having Adam Wingard direct the movie, or getting it sooner and not having Adam direct it and have someone else directing it, which would you pick?
That's rough, because I am all for the mindset that give more filmmakers their shot at these kind of films. I very much am into the idea of different voices taking over different franchise entries and how that dictates where the franchise goes. But in the same respect, I'm on board with you. I think the difference between King of Monsters for me and Godzilla vs. Kong is that they both did a disservice to their human characters. And I know I'm going to say it one last time, and I know that's not the reason you all watch it, but still, they both did a disservice for the human characters. But in my opinion, the Godzilla vs. Kong under the direction of Wingard stood out more because there was more going on for me. The visual aesthetic was brighter. Everything was like, I don't want to say like more joyful, but everything was, that brightness did bring a vibrancy to everything. And the fight sequences, you could see them better. I like what Wingard did. And I think I would like to see another film by him, because Godzilla vs. Kong was that step up for me. So I would love to see him outdo himself. I'd love to see him come back to this and go, all right, I did Godzilla vs. Kong already. The people liked it. I know I did these things right. Now let me see what I can do. And again, like, Son of Kong is a great concept itself too, because let's start getting more generations in here with the monsters and things of that nature. So I'm very into that happening.
All while you were talking, I have committed to one answer or the other, and then back again, and then back again.
On both sides, because the thing is, again, like I said, you can give it to a new filmmaker to give their crack at it, and I would be just as happy for the reasons I stated. But both work.
I think I lean towards getting it sooner rather than later. I don't want them to lose the momentum that they have right now. And the second that the floodgates open, and essentially they're going to next year anyways, that statement is kind of pointless. But I was going to say, once the floodgates start opening with all these franchise installments again, I don't want it to get buried, but that's inevitable. But I am of the belief that while I would never condone rushing a sequel out and sacrificing quality to keep the gap between installments smaller, I do. I do think that there's great value in releasing a sequel when the previous installment is fresher on moviegoers' minds.
Yeah, right. I'm all in that, but in the same respect, if that means we get Face Off later, I'm totally fine with that because I can still watch the original Face Off, and I'm kind of okay with it. But
I think if I had to pick between the three movies, what I would need to see now, it might be Face Off, or actually, it won't be Face Off until I know who he casts in the lead roles. I think if he casts those roles with two like undeniable stars for that movie, I'm just like gonna fall head over heels for it before we even see a stitch of promotional material, and it's gonna become one of my most anticipated movies of the year.
Yeah, I'm with you on it. I'm highly anticipated for it. I just think it's more the sense that we have an original Face-Off already. If that's the thing of choosing between those two alone, I would definitely take the Godzilla. The Thundercats has me really excited, though. I got to be honest. Take on
the Thundercats.
Yeah, I was gonna say getting a man. I hope they do everything the right way. I imagine a world where practical is heavy in the effects world, and we get these Thundercats that are just like, man, the movie that we want to see. I just don't want to see a CG laden Thundercats movie that a studio probably wants to produce. And I want to see, I don't know, maybe Wingard thinks about all the horror movies that he's watched and he goes, you know what? Practical always wins out.
Practical, like what I hear Chloe Zhao's doing on Eternals.
Yep.
But first, Edibles here with a super chat. Thankful for another Friday here and with these fine people. What's your next animated feature, if any, you're looking forward to? Rad shirt and hair on point, Matt. Flawless. Perri, enough said. Annabelle, thank you so much. We always love having you here and very much appreciate your support. All right. I mean, this feels like the obvious answer just because we were talking about it earlier. Luca's on my brain right now. But I hear wonderful things about it's not called Connected anymore, and I think it's available now on Netflix, and I'm forgetting the title. Mitchell's versus the Machines. I've been really looking forward to that, and it feels like it was released with not very much fanfare or promotion, and I didn't even realize they changed the title from Connected to that when there was an email circulating in the Collider team to cover something that pertained to this. And I'm like, I don't know what that is. Where did that come from? If they had kept the title Connected, I would have been all over that. I didn't even know they changed the title, and I had no clue what it was when it came out. And now that I know what it is, I'm kicking myself for not watching it sooner.
Yeah, that was actually going to be my answer because it is on Netflix now. It hit today, and I really want to watch Mitchell vs. the Machines because everyone that I trust about animation is talking this thing up like it's the next big thing, and I'm very, very excited to watch it because I'm big into animation. I like my horror, I like all that stuff, but I love a good animated flick, the Lego movie, anything of that nature. So I need to give this one a check.
The animation style in this one looked incredible to me too. In the trailers, just the level of detail, and of course, this is a Lord and Miller production. The two of them are producing this, which always signals to me that we're going to get a film of great quality. But I was basically rewatching those, I think, 2 trailers I was aware of that they released, and looking for little details and just how it taps into, our relationship with technology now. It was just oozing with potential. So I need to prioritize watching that after I watch the 500 other things that I have to watch this weekend.
You know what I just caught up with, though, talking about animation? Camp
Tell me,
Cretaceous.
what did you do? Oh, really? I thought you were going to say Ted
Yeah.
Lasso.
Oh, no, talking about animation, it's not animated.
Oh, I don't know. I just got really excited, and we named my
No.
backyard cat Ted, so I'm always thinking about it.
No, but I just watched Camp Cretaceous, which I think is an adorable little Jurassic Park show.
Do you know I actually haven't watched it? I really should. I need to sit down and actually binge that entire show at some point, and I'm gonna.
It's very easy.
I think I want to binge Mythic Quest first, though.
I really want to watch Mythic Quest. I know that it's in my wheelhouse. I need to get Apple. I just need to get on that and do Ted Lasso. I need to do Mythic Quest. It's the only reason I haven't watched those shows. So they've both been high on my list.
Have to watch that. Here, someone in the chat tell me if you've watched this. I have to watch this Julia Stiles show called Riviera. I don't know. I don't really know much about it. I just want to talk to her. So if anyone has watched that series and has something, good to say about it, that's going to up my excitement to watch it. I'm
Wait, hold on. Songbird just says something interesting. I'm curious because you haven't watched any of Invincible, have you?
I should though, right?
I seem to be the only person that doesn't care for it. My feed is upset. I'm a Kirkman fan. I didn't read this specific comic, but I don't know. I can't get into Invincible, and I just watched all of it, and I feel like the best part of Invincible is the last 15 minutes of that finale, and it is a solid ending, but you get through an entire season of kind of this really predictable superhero origin story, and I don't know. It didn't work for me. I feel like it's trying to ape off The Boys a little bit. I feel like it's trying to do all these things that are popular right now, but the animation isn't as fluid as I want it to be. The voice acting is a little flat for me, and I don't know. I can't get into it like everybody else. So I'm the outlier here. I am 100% the outlier. I understand this. I want to love it. I love the voice cast, but it kind of feels like something they just kind of forced out. I don't know.
You don't have to like it just because everybody else likes it, but admittedly, you're probably
have I ever had a problem?
You're probably the first person that I've heard say anything negative about that series.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I'm gonna watch it. I'm trying right now.
Everyone's really liking it.
I need to catch up on *Handmaid's Tale* is my thing right now. That show is just a lot. It's a lot.
Yep. Themes, relevance. What?
Yeah, it's gonna be difficult to keep up with that, but I'm gonna do it. All right, do we want to move on to our next story?
Yep.
All right.
It's already almost.
The Sweet Tooth trailer, Matt.
Yeah, I'm into it.
I had absolutely no clue what this was. So all I saw was, I think, one still image from the thing, and I'd never heard of it. I thought it was just like a festival independent movie. I had no clue what this thing was. And then I pressed play on the trailer, and oh my, epic fantasy, crazy landscapes, effects that look really cool. And then it's based on a DC what is this? And I need to watch it.
I had a very fortunate upbringing around in college, and I wasn't really into comics, and I sat down with some of my friends that were, and I'm like, all right, I want to start reading comics. This is something I've wanted to do, but I haven't had the right sensei. So let's put it that way. And my friend was like, I'm going to start you with a few. Obviously, he started me with Walking Dead. That was just one of I'm a horror fan, so he's like, here, Walking Dead. He gave me The Boys, which, again, I fell in love with. It's extreme. I get that. I still love The Boys for what it is. And one of the ones he was obsessed with, that he had me read a few issues of, was Sweet Tooth. So I knew about Sweet Tooth before the adaptation got announced, and I was like, how are you going to do this? I'm very intrigued. And then I saw that trailer, and it blew me the F away. That trailer looks really good. Am I correct? It's Jim Mickle? Jim
Mickle, too, on top of that. Yes.
Love Jim Mickle. Love everything he's done. I feel like this is going to be a continuation of things that I am really into. You get to see Will Forte doing some drama stuff that, people don't afford him to do. And he can do it. Yeah, he can do it. That's not a thing against him. He can do it. So I'm glad they're giving him the role. And again, the fantasy elements are just, you're playing with outsider themes. You're playing with kids as an outcast in that kind of dystopian world. And you're doing it by turning some of them into animalish people. It does a very good job of representing what the comic is about. And I'm very excited to see if the whole actual show does this.
For anybody out there who doesn't know what Sweet Tooth is, can you give a very brief synopsis?
I would do it in Injustice. I read them a while ago, so I don't want to
I have a sentence here that I could at least read from the Collider article if you'd prefer.
Yeah, go for it. I don't want to fuck it up myself, having like just said that. So.
I got you covered. Set years after the Great Crumble, a semi-apocalyptic event that left the Earth in shambles, but also heralded the arrival of a bevy of hybrid deer humans. The show follows one such hybrid named Sweet Tooth as he forms an unlikely bond with a loner. The two embark on an extraordinary adventure through the lush, dangerous world left behind, searching for the meaning of home. I mean, it just sounds like a beautiful story, too.
It's that sweetness. Like Sweet Tooth is aptly named. Like there is a sweetness to it. You think it's going to get like graphic and dark, and maybe it will in parts, but no, it very much keeps that kind of fantasy child element alive, and it's a driving force of the story. So don't think it's gonna. I don't know. Like Mikkel's done some really fucked up stuff. Like Mikkel has taken remakes of cannibalist films, and Cold in July gets dark. So I'm very excited to see how he deals with the family elements, because we are what we are. It's a take on family, but it's a take on family, but maybe not one that you can show with the entire family.
It's not a fun for the family kind of film.
Also, Songbird just said produced by RDJ. Correct. It is produced by RDJ.
You are right. For anyone who wants to watch it, the first season is going to be 8 episodes, each an hour long, and it premieres on Netflix on June 4th.
Hell yeah.
Gordy's really excited.
I know, I can hear him.
He's playing with his ball machine.
He really wants to talk about Sweet Tooth.
Meanwhile, Dewey's fast asleep now. The light tired him out. All right. Let's talk about this Paddington 2 thing.
Yeah, let's do this. Oh, man.
Reading from the Collider article, even though I do have some of the details on the story. So apparently Paddington 2 topped Citizen Kane as the top-rated film on Rotten Tomatoes. What exactly does that mean, though?
Absolutely nothing. Yeah. We are both Rotten Tomatoes approved critics. I very much enjoy the fact that I am that critic. I very much think that there is a good way to use Rotten Tomatoes. I also think Rotten Tomatoes is one of the worst things to happen to movies since the fucking inception of cinema. No, I very much think that it has ruined the way that we look at movies. It's ruined the way that we address them, and it's ruined the way that the general public.
That's not the platform's fault. I think it's
not the platform's fault, but it drives it.
It's the fault of.
It's the fault of the consumer. They don't use it right. I'm agreeing.
I was going to say, but I'm gonna walk that back a little. At first, I was going to say it is the fault of the person who doesn't know how to use the tool. But then one could say it's the fault of Rotten Tomatoes for not clearly conveying how to use the tool. But then one could also say that Rotten Tomatoes only has so much control over how people use their website, so it's not their fault either. So, it's a mix of both. This is what's going to happen when you have a resource like that. And you know what? Actually, you could also place the same blame on movie reviews having ratings at all. Because before Rotten Tomatoes, there were folks that would just, I don't know, look up a review in a newspaper, not read a single word that the critic wrote, and just look at the star rating.
I take it back. I take back me saying that Rotten Tomatoes itself is all that thing. It's the tomato meter specifically. Because what Rotten Tomatoes does right is it aggregates reviews, it tells you fresh or rotten, it gives you blurbs, and it gives you the idea of what critics think. The tomato meter negates the need for a critic itself, and all it's doing is taking our reviews and putting them into a percentage, and that's what people get hung up on. You're right. Everyone can easily go look at a score, but with the tomato meter, no one cares to scroll down to see what critics think. They go to the tomato meter, they say it's a percentage, and if something is that negative, then it's just negative. And I'm going to use my example that I use all the time. Like Doctor Strange is something like 90-something% is heralded as this like very highly regarded and rated critically superhero movie. If you do a little bit more and scroll down, you will see that everyone's reviews are basically like 3 out of 5. Yeah. Everyone's like, cool, this is a good movie. It's fine. Then if you go to something like, again, I don't know why this is always my go-to, but the remake of Maniac starring Elijah Wood is sitting at a 50% basically. And if you go scroll down, you'll see that a bunch of people rated it either 10 out of 10 or a 0 out of 10. So it's like there is so much nuance to this thing that is just a meter, But number one, Rotten Tomatoes doesn't really do much to even point to critics anymore. They used to have a section that was like, find your critic, and you can actually like answer questions, and they would pair you with critics that go with your taste. And that actually drives to the critics themselves. If Rotten Tomatoes was pushing more towards the critics, that would be one thing. But what's getting driven everywhere is the tomato meter. The tomato meter is God now. The tomato meter tells us what to watch and what not to watch. And like, that is an issue because critique, as you said, is so much more than a number. But now that you've given everyone a number, that's where everyone stops. Sorry, I'll stop now.
No, because like you make a whole bunch of very fair points that there's no refuting them. I do think there's flaws in the system. The problem is that it's also a very marketable system, and you know, with any system, there's going to be flaws in it. You just got to do the best that you possibly can do in order to fix that. One change in the tomato meter I will say that I don't like is in past times, you used to get the tomato meter score, and then you used to get an average out of 5 or 10 or whatever it was. That I liked because as someone who at least thinks she knows how to use the tomato meter well, I would look at the tomato meter score and I would get a sense of where, you know, like the general consensus lies. And then I would know to look at the score average to get a sense of, oh, are people really all giving this thing a 10 out of 10? Or is it mostly 6 out of 10s? And that's why it pushed to positive. So like I was looking at that, but I will say there's been a lot of moves by Rotten Tomatoes lately to be more inclusive. And I think to promote some voices that are not heard nearly as much as they should be. But you know, again, what it comes down to is they give you that tomato meter score, which I think it can be very helpful for someone who is about to run out the door to see a movie. They don't know what to decide to see. They pull up the tomato meter score and they make a decision. But I understand why doing that then takes away the voice of the individual critics that then gave it that tomato meter score.
And if I mean, fuck it, I'm going to do it. We'll get inside baseball-y. I think the tomato meter influences reviews as well. I think that it's very easy now that if press people come to critics to get a tomato meter rating, and the more positive ratings you give, the more press you kind of get now. And I'm sorry, I just see a lot of things where people are very positive about everything. And I really feel like that is a byproduct of Rotten Tomatoes. I feel like if I look at your Rotten Tomatoes page and everything for 3 pages is a fresh tomato, what are we doing here? What critical value does that add? I don't know. And I'm sorry if that's like, you know, whatever, but it is something that's happening in critical industries. Like, and that is taking away from criticism itself.
I was about to say that I might be guilty of that. Like everyone watching this channel probably knows that I skew positive. And
there's skewing positive though, and then there's things that I see.
I know why I skew positive, and I know why my past experience has made me that kind of critic. It's because of film school, because I went and I tried it and I realized how hard it was, and I got a better understanding of the fact that, you know, you can't necessarily look at a film, just throw up your hands and say you don't like it and give the entire thing a flat out negative score. I feel like having had that experience of trying to make a film and also learning more about what each individual department is required to do and how much work they have to do has always made me thought when I give something a grade, whether it's a letter grade, a number grade, whatever, it always makes me consider the work submitted by different departments. And sometimes I think that's what pushes me a bit positive. But now that I say that and I'm scrolling through, like the last 2 reviews I submitted were rotten. Yeah. So
I was going to say, Perri, I'm not talking about you. No, I'm not talking about you. I want to make sure you know that.
I didn't think you were talking about me, but as you were explaining it, I was thinking about, you know, like, yes, a lot more. More of my reviews are positive than negative.
But still, though, as you just said, if you know, criticism itself is about analyzing a film, and it's not about just effusive praise and just angry negativity. It's about a critique. Like, so if you write a negative review, you're actually coming from a place of writing a negative review saying, I know with the filmmaking process, my negative review is going to be thoughtful, and it always is. Like, I'm talking more about Rotten Tomatoes now as used as a positive or negative, and it's no longer about criticism. It's about a blatant attack, or it's about just how many quotes can I get out of this review, because it's now a 10 out of 10 Rotten Tomatoes, and that's going to go looked at first. We're both part of Rotten Tomatoes. I'm not shitting on Rotten Tomatoes just to shit on them. I think that it is very nuanced, and it is a system. As you have said, any system is going to have flaws, but what Rotten Tomatoes has introduced, combined with how it's being used, combined with the knowledge gaps that now exist that Rotten Tomatoes kind of doesn't really push to actually bridge. And as you said, they've removed the average rating, they've removed the find your critic feature. Like, everything they're doing is kind of just pushing towards the tomato meter. And
I have a question, Matt. Other than adding those things back, what do you think that they could do to make the tomato meter a better tool for movie fans to use?
At this point, I don't know, because I like, legitimately, the more they can do to point towards the critics and stress the fact that the tomato meter number is a number, and there are critics that actually make that number what it is, that's the best they can do. I really think that's where we're at, because society, as you said, is just going to take it and run with it no matter what. So part of my complaint is against society. I don't know how else to say that. Like, part of it is about educating yourself. It's the sense of, no one wants to read reviews anymore. No one wants to do all that stuff. Like, we're in the video or TikTok era where short bites, I need it quick, I need my information now. And that's what the tomato meter gives them. But anything to drive to the fact that if you scroll down, there's a whole page of critics, and maybe you'll find Matt Donato or Perri Nemiroff, and maybe you find that you kind of agree with them all the time. So all of a sudden, there's a movie that has an 80%, but Matt Donato or Perri said it's negative, and you go, wait, but I'm always aligned with Matt or Perri. I can use this. Like, that's how you can use Rotten Tomatoes to your benefit, but we don't get that deep anymore.
I hear you. I was just, I was basically just looking through the page to maybe come up with my own suggestion. And
yeah,
the first thing that came to my mind is the layout of the site. It's like, if you had, let's say, I don't know, I'm not like a graphic design layout type person, but it's like, if you had the, let's say, 75 on Rotten Tomatoes on the tomato meter, like, what if you had an image next to it that had a little bit of a scale from top to bottom, with like one blurb from a critic that falls from its highest rated score to its lowest? I don't know, just something at a glance, whether it's like top critics in that blurb or anyone else, but just something to reflect the fact that literally everybody didn't give this 75% on the tomato meter movie a 75 out of 100 score. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Or that they like gave it like a 10 out of 10. And like, that's, like, I think that's the assumption. If it has a 75, then people assume that just every critic gave it a great review. And that's not always the truth. So there's just no way to, like, I understand there's just no way to win, but I don't know the answer to that anymore. Cause again, we're so deep in it right now that there's not really an easy way out. There's not really an easy way to dig out of this scenario. It's just,
There's not an easy way out, and I got to give them credit. They built quite the empire over there.
They did. Oh, they very much did. Don't trust me. Business-wise, they are fucking geniuses. I'm not taking anything from them there.
A good team of people too. I'm very much enjoying their editorial content, and like, I got to admit it, I participated in their Twitter Spaces, and I had a friggin' blast.
Like, you should. Sorry, again, like, my argument is with the tomato meter. Everything else they're doing is great. Like I'm not saying any of the stuff they're writing, all that stuff, like, that is good. That is all good things they're doing. But something can be good and bad at the same time, though.
I mean, isn't everything?
Everything is. Trust me.
Like, I feel like I'm good and bad at the same. Well, that made me sound like a real.
No, Perri, you're not good at being bad. I will say, like, honestly, you're just not good at being bad. So that's where that is.
All right, we have a super chat, and I'm excited to get to this tonight, even though I still don't quite know what anything means that I've been watching. Caleb is here. What does LB stand for?
Linebacker,
cornerback, and are there any other abbreviations that I'm forgetting?
Nope, you're good there. That was linebacker and quarterbacker. Yes, the Cowboys are getting better at defense, and Kelvin
Joseph.
The Cowboys are getting better at defense, which is where we didn't want them to get better because we want them to stay bad because they score points, but they let up a bunch of points. So they're trying to fix that leaky faucet, I think.
You know what I want to do, Matt, next year? I want to join a fantasy football league that lets you select defense players too.
I do that in my keeper league. We can set that up.
Seriously? I want a better understanding. Like, I feel like I know, like, the offensive lineup so damn well, and those are the players that I know when there are so many talented players on defense and I legit know nothing about them because they're not involved in my fantasy.
Yeah, no, it's fun. I like playing. Yeah, we play independent. We play cornerback, linebacker, safety, defensive end, and defensive line. Like we do every one for everyone, and it's I won one week because Cliff Averill in a single play he got a sack. He forced a fumble, and then he caught the fumble himself and returned it for a touchdown. And that's the only reason I won that week. Like, it was a miracle play. I never should have won that week, but it's fun.
I'm impressed. That's so cool. See, I want to be able to enjoy that shit. Did you watch any of the draft?
No, the Texans didn't have a pick until the third round, so it didn't matter for me.
So they still haven't picked because they're only on the second round, right?
100%. Literally, they don't have a pick until the third round, so the Texans are just... Yeah, we've made so many poor decisions, and we can't get better. That's the best part. It's just terrible.
I can't wait to watch Trevor Lawrence. I like how happy he was. It was like sometimes I feel like the top-rated players that are gonna get picked first, they go into it with all that swagger and confidence. They know they're going to get picked. I love when we get like a little further back and when you get to watch them get the call, they're just like so hyped and excited. And it's like right there, right before your eyes, you watch someone's life change. It's like, it's in addition to being important for the future of these football franchises, it's just really freaking cool.
Yeah, no, it's fun. I do like the draft. I like the idea. It's I have a Slack group with my fantasy football group, and they've been going crazy for the last 2 days, and it's fun to see those conversations going wild. But man, I'm just so pissed at the Texans. I have no idea what to do.
Keeper league so badly.
Keeper leagues are fun.
Yeah,
we're starting it over. It's a year one. We went through 10 years, so we are starting over.
Start over every 10 years.
Mm-hmm. We started right out of college last year because of everything. We decided last year should have been the year we restarted, but we weren't going to restart on a question mark year. Okay, so we made this year the first restart. So secondly, it's our 11th. We've gone through 11 seasons so far. It's fun.
That's so cool. I love that. I love fantasy football.
Yeah.
All right. So I think we should talk about our title topic because we have to.
Yeah.
So part of the reason why and this is going to be your Oscar opportunity, Matt. Part of the reason why we chose that as a title.
Wait, are you going to explain this really quick so I can go get a beer?
We'll go get a beer.
Thank you.
Part of the reason why we chose this for our title topic tonight is because a lot of folks out there were predicting that when Chloe Zhao won the Best Director Oscar, because we knew she was all going to win it, that Marvel was going to release a trailer for the Eternals, and it was going to say, from Academy Award-winning director Chloe Zhao. And we still don't have a trailer for Eternals. Usually, in an effort to figure out when you might see a trailer for a really hot upcoming title, like in years past, I would just, I would look at another movie in that franchise that came out in that particular month in a prior year. Like all those rules, just like how I predict my box office stuff, all those rules are out the window now. You can't just go by those trends. We're in a different playing field at this point. So that's not going to apply. So the best guess that I would give you right now is that they're going to release that in conjunction with the release of Black Widow. That is, I was about to say that's the only thing that makes sense to me, but it's, it's not entirely. For all I know, they could, let it loose even sooner and release it with Cruella. I mean, what is the value of releasing a trailer attached to a theatrical release right now anyway? It's like, I would love to get more data on how many people are encouraged to go see a particular movie because they saw that trailer in the movie theater versus seeing it online,
It's hard that without that kind of data, I don't think that data is tremendous. Or sorry, I don't think that number would be tremendous. The amount of people that are going to be like, I need to see my trailer on the big screen. It's just a trailer. I feel like our society in a whole has just shifted over to watching things on our phones and our iPads and things of that nature. So I don't think a trailer is going to be that of a draw. But in the same respect, I did see a lot of people. I think it was was it the Mortal Kombat trailer when that final one dropped, or it was some big like genre trailer. And I saw a lot of like horror fans. They saw a movie that was out and getting to see that trailer on the big screen, like they were going crazy. Like they were like tweeting all about it, just saying like if it was Mortal Kombat or not, I forget. But like my timeline was filled like, yo, I got to see that trailer like on the big screen. Like, holy shit, I'm so much more excited now. So I think there is a thing to the fact that trailers play better on the big screen. You're excited to see these, like you're seeing it where it's meant to be seen. And but again, though, I still don't know if that's worth the $20 movie ticket now.
Here, we've got two live chats that both bring up good points. First, AJ Post is saying, I think they will wait for Eternals a bit more because they have so much before then and may not want it to get lost. November is a long way off still. And then MK Songbird said, I think Marvel will want to focus on familiarizing the audience with Shang-Chi since he is a relatively unknown character and might not get an actual push for Eternals in July. I hear you guys on that. And I think that is something to be considered in all of this. You don't want to release a piece of promotional material so far out that people forget it even exists by the time your movie's rolling out. Yeah. But I think if Kevin Feige is running around now telling people, look at what Chloe Zhao did with her visuals in Nomadland. The cool thing about Eternals is that so much of what you're seeing on screen was captured in camera. Wouldn't you want the Nomadland win being fresh on your mind while you watch that trailer? Not even necessarily a full story trailer. I'm just talking about a teaser trailer that shows off the qualities that she showed off in Nomadland and seeing those in Eternals footage.
Do we think that, and this is not meant to be an insult by any means, but do we think that Marvel thinks their audience cares enough about a movie like Nomadland? Do we think that they think there's any appeal to that crossover? I think that's a bigger question.
I don't necessarily. Well, so okay, but all right. Two things. First of all, I don't think. I mean, when you look at it, this is a very broad statement, and there's definitely people out there that this does not apply to. But I would say the MCU target audience and the Nomadland target audience are not the same. Right. But I do think I would suspect that a lot of MCU fans out there very much care about the directors that are recruited to direct the upcoming films and might want to know more about them or even see some of their films. So they might have a vested interest in the Oscars this year with whether or not Chloe Zhao won. Now I forgot another very good point that I wanted to make when you made your comment. I had 2 points. Say your comment again. What was it?
My comment was just, do we think that Marvel thinks there's enough crossover?
So the other side of it is you always want to get a bigger and bigger audience for your massive franchise movie. I know Marvel has its built-in fan base and its target audience, but if you can get some of those folks out there who watch the Oscar-nominated films and get them to open up to a Marvel movie that they might not care about before, this is the opportunity to do it. For all the people who actually did what was it? I don't even know. Not very many people who did tune in to watch the Oscars and they cared about Nomadland winning. If you could then immediately follow that up by saying this Academy Award director directed our big Marvel movie, they might see the movie when they wouldn't have otherwise.
That is very fair. I also think there's another side to the coin where, Marvel often gets not really included in a lot of talks like that because, they're superhero movies, they're genre technically, and they don't really get invited to the Oscars that much. So maybe they're kind of just like, they don't care about us, we don't care about them.
That's fine. I don't think they're that petty. That's ridiculous.
I don't think it's pettiness. I think it's just they know that their machine doesn't need them. I think that Marvel knows what they have, and they know that they don't need to say, Best Picture winning Chloe Zhao directing this. Like, no, they know that everyone's going to see the Eternals anyway. Like, anyone could have directed the Eternals, and you're going to get that many people seeing it. So,
I'm not going to go ahead and say that the MCU needs the Oscars, especially again with the ratings as low as they were, but being able to say Academy Award winner in, my Marvel movie in whatever capacity does have some value in this industry.
Do you want to talk about the Oscars real quick? Because fucking opinions. You've done
about the Oscars all week. I think it was an absolute shit show at the end. So
fucking terrible. Absolutely terrible. I'm gonna go as far to say that I didn't even connect with the intimacy of the beginning portions too. Sorry, not even the beginning portions. It was basically the entire show. It really felt dry. It felt stale, and I didn't really care to watch any of it. I was kind of playing video games through the whole thing and just watching out of the corner of my eye when someone announced a actual award. And holy shit, that was a terrible ending in the sense of that they gambled on that. That was a gamble. No. Also, all the quotes that have come out since then have just made it worse and worse. Literally, what was it, the ABC? Like, basically, whoever was in charge of the fucking show, not even Soderbergh. Like, Soderbergh is like, yeah, it was a calculated risk. We did what we did. But, like, okay, like a producer saying that, at least you admitted that. The worst is saying, well, everyone's talking about our ending, so obviously it worked. Are you fucking kidding me? Everyone's talking about your ending, so it worked? Do you know how to read a room? Twitter is right there. Like, Twitter is right there. Just scroll for maybe a minute down your timeline. Everyone's talking about how you fucked up the Oscars monumentally.
I had that conversation a little bit on Collider FYC earlier in the week. I am not a fan of the idea of getting people to talk about your show or event having value if it's for bad reasons, particularly when you're supposed to be presenting yourself as the most prestigious award show of the season and really the most high value award that the film industry can give someone. So that take on it does not slide in my book.
So the quote itself is baffling. And what's even worse is that I'm trying to pull up exactly. So it was the chief officer at ABC. And sorry, I tweet about it obviously because fuck you, that was terrible. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. So not only do you say this is ABC's Rob Mills, and again, officer in charge of everything, like from ABC, who oversaw this entire project. Obviously, the first quote is, it was a calculated risk that I think still paid off because everybody was talking about it. Number one, fuck you. Number two, it goes on. So here is what the Variety article says in bold, because they got another quote from Mills after this. In bold, it says, at the very least, Mills noted that it served as a reminder that the producers really don't know the winners beforehand. Cool. Glad you're using that as an example. And then here's Mills's quote after that. Although imagine if they did know and they still did that. That would have been very bold. Why did we say that? Why was that something we said? Like, you've brought more bad will onto your show just by imagining a scenario in your dumb fuck sentence that you have just said that never had to be uttered. Like, literally, you are saying, imagine if Soderbergh knew that Boseman was going to lose and he still did that. That would have been bold. That's a thing. That's a thing that was said.
The only reason I'm laughing at this at all is because I've spewed my anger all over the internet all week. I have fucking ranted and raved about how dumb this whole thing was. Dumb, unforgivable, and extremely disrespectful to everybody on every tier, whether you're talking about Chadwick Boseman's family, who were essentially, by switching up the order of the awards, they were given the impression that it was because he won. And then on top of that, you take away from Anthony Hopkins' win by setting it up to give the impression that Chadwick won, and then he stole the Oscar from him, which is not how this works. He won fair and square. He's excellent in the movie, and he deserved it. But it's the way you set up those expectations that's problematic. Then on top of that, you take away from Nomadland's win by not giving them the big finish moment. Then on top of that, you make your award show about the individual rather than ending it by by recognizing the combined work of an entire company that contributed to the best picture. There's so many things wrong with this scenario. I could list on and on.
I've got three more, and I'll go through them quickly. Number one, Chloe Zhao. I mean, we're talking about a person of color actually winning awards at the Oscars, and that becomes not a story for the reasons you just said. Like, this should be a momentous occasion that Chloe Zhao is winning. Like, that should have been something that's talked about more, because again, they're actually, a person of color is winning at the Oscars. This is amazing. And that gets undercut because you've just ruined all of that with your dumb decision, number one. Number two, Anthony Hopkins. Okay, remember when the Oscars came out first and they were like, we're not letting anyone zoom in. We won't do that. And then the backlash was like, you guys are idiots. It's a pandemic. This looks bad. So the Oscars then announced to everyone saying, we're just kidding. This is going to be totally fine. Zooms are fine. Like, obviously we understand the scenario.
Where Zooms are fine.
Right. Well, this week,
satellite locations are fine.
Right. Their satellite locations are fine. This week, we learned that Anthony Hopkins was like, I would have gladly accepted my award on Zoom, but the Oscars wouldn't let me. So the Oscars, basically, to save face, lied to us all, said they were taking this pandemic seriously. And then when Anthony Hopkins was like, yeah, I'll gladly accept and maybe make this less of a bumblefuck than it actually was, they literally wouldn't let him zoom in to do the acceptance speech. So you've lied to the viewers. You've lied to everyone. You've told us that you're taking this seriously. And I'm sorry, the fact that you are not letting Hopkins do that means you're not taking it seriously. So again, fuck off. And there was like something else in there. I don't know. Everything about it.
Bombs in this rant than I've ever heard you do on like any show in its entirety that you've done.
I'm very okay with this. I'm very, because
the only reason I'm not doing it right now is because I've done it. I did it on Riley's show. I did it on FYC. Oh my God. The Twitter space that I did for Rotten Tomatoes was immediately after the ceremony ended.
Oh God.
I was just like, I was a wreck, because I'm on the opposite divide as you in terms of the beginning, where I was into it in the beginning. I liked the intimacy. I liked not having recipients played off and them being able to give their speech to the fullest, and them taking the amount of the spotlight that they wanted when they get this great honor. But then it was just like, oh, it spiraled out of control. The in memoriam played at fast forward, and some of the presenters were just awful. It just like started on such a
Joaquin Phoenix not wanting to be there.
Tanked. Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah, and the last thing is, again, you're not only setting up the expectations by ending on Best Actor, you're setting up the expectations for everyone. It's not just the people accepting the awards or the people that are nominated for the awards. It's about the people watching. And if they were going to give Chadwick that award, that would have meant so much to so many people. So the fact that they had just teased that, like, that's a thing they were setting up clearly. They clearly were setting it up in their structure. And the fact that they would use that to keep people engaged or to keep the mystery alive, like, that was going to be a big deal for a whole lot of people who just felt jilted by the Oscars yet again after another year of giving two white actors their lead awards, because apparently people of color can't win lead awards. It's just the same thing year after year. And this year they finally teased that it was going to change things, and you used everyone's sympathy, you used everyone's emotions, and then you just exit stage left on Anthony Hopkins.
That's the thing. I'm not opposed to shaking up the awards and shaking up the order if you want, in terms of the way you give those awards out. I am against you doing that in a manipulative way like you did this time around.
Yep.
I think it's just hugely inappropriate and wrong on so many levels, and I don't think I'm ever going to forget the.
But hey, people are talking about it.
Oh, Matt. All right. We need to move over to our Power Hour stream. But before we do that, we do have a super chat here. And it's a very important super chat. Very important.
Sorry.
Greg Coles is here. Greg said, love the chemistry between you two. Thank you for the content. The next set of beers are on me. First of all, Greg, thank you so much for being here. And thank you for supporting the show. It is greatly appreciated, no matter what you want your super chat to go towards. But because tonight is a Power Hour night, it's extra appreciated that you want this to go towards beers, because
I was going to say, it's just as important that we're going to get beers out of this. That the beers are important.
I can't wait, Matt, until we can have beers together in person.
Listen, I am fully vaccinated. We are done. We're both fully vaccinated. I will.
I'm
LA
waiting,
is a thing in the future,
I'm
so
waiting for my sister to have a baby, and then I'm gonna come to LA.
I'm waiting,
I want,
waiting for another one to pop out.
I want to see my nephew.
I get it.
So,
What were our other topics? Can we do them in like 2 minutes?
oh, the Tomorrow War teaser?
I'm just thinking, like,
That was
we got like
another
2
one
minutes.
I have opened up.
Well, we have Luca. Luca looks adorable. I mean, Luca for me, it's great. It was amazing. I loved it.
To Luca. I'm looking forward to every Pixar movie. It literally doesn't matter what it is, but it's just like it's always fun seeing that studio explore, new topics and new places, and with such a level of detail and so much valuable character development too. That's always done in unique ways. That's part of the reason why Pixar keeps getting me to come back for more.
I like this animation though. It looks cartoonier, which is weird to say, but I like that. It's like playing more in like a little fantasy world. They're having fun with their animations, and they're not trying to stay uber realistic again, like in any of that world. And I kind of dig that, and it looks really fun. Again, two little mermen just kind of figuring out life as humans. I'm into it. I mean, and like the "Call Me by Your Name" side by side shots that people are saying, where like they're dressing like. I like it. I like all of this going on.
I do like the voice cast too. I like the idea of Jack Dylan Grazer and Jacob Tremblay voicing those characters. I think they're gonna be great. Sorry, I'm also looking at the Power Hour URL as I've got to
give it you. I got to give you the Power Hour URL. You will give it right after this.
Project Power Hour playlist, but I'm gonna do it right now. Actually, as we talk about this last thing, if you want to join us for Power Hour, we basically just like hang out, shoot the shit. The Patreon team joins us on camera, and we just like hang out, have a drink, and guess who picked each song. It's a lot of fun, and it's a lot of really great music. I just put the URL for that video in the live chat, so just copy and paste it and join us over there. For the Tomorrow War, I'll admit I was a little disappointed just because they were hyping it up, and I thought I was going to get a longer, maybe more story-focused trailer, and that was a true teaser. I mean, they're calling it a teaser, so I can't really fault them. But I had built up the anticipation for a longer trailer, and that's not what we got. So that was not enough to convince me that this is a really cool story, even though I've liked what I've heard about it thus far.
Yeah, and we're in a world where teaser trailers are now like 1:30 and full trailers are 3 minutes. So it's weird that has actually made my expectations kind of skewed, where 30 seconds I was like, this is a bumper.
Wasn't the Sweet Tooth trailer titled as a teaser?
Yeah, and that was about like that's where we've gotten though. That's just how it's happening now. So yeah, Amazon went full teaser, which I don't hate if you give me a 30-minute bite, or sorry, 30-second bite, but that 30 seconds was pretty generic, and it was just like Chris Pratt. And that was it. They only named Chris Pratt, and they're like, "Yeah, Chris Pratt." And I'm like, "What else? What else do you have for me here?"
She gets a nice shot in that little teaser, and they got Betty Gilpin. I mean, show off some of those names.
Yeah, but again, though, like you're not exactly like you have all these things, and you're just like Chris Pratt.
All right, whatever.
And then the last thing, The Last of Us.
Oh,
I just think it's a fun little quote because it's fun to note that I think the game like writer or whatever is like writing the actual script of the HBO show, and he was approached to do a film years ago, like when the first game came out, and it was kind of like, yeah, we want this on the big screen, and he ended up walking from that project because they wanted to do more action. And I find that very intriguing because like this is an area for zombie films where either you get The Walking Dead, where it's very drama-y and it plays in like the life-altering effects of the zombie apocalypse, or you get the zombie lands and Armies of the Dead and things of that nature that just go full force into action. So I don't know. I just thought it was kind of respectable that this guy was like, I know my show, I know my game, I know the story I want to write. It's not going to be action heavy. So I think this also confirms the show is not going to be extremely action heavy. But I kind of respect the fact that a filmmaker's out there, or a creator at this point, because he's a video game creator going into writing the script for the HBO show. But I respect the hell out of him walking away from a deal saying, this isn't my vision. You're turning this into another just zombie land, kind of just boom, boom, bang, bang. And no, he wants to do it his way. Respect. I can't wait for the show. I
hear you. Not easy to walk away from things like that, even if I don't know, even if you don't necessarily align with the creative vision. So good on him for making that leap if he felt it was right. All right. Before we leave this, I have some Patreon shout outs I want to give. First, we've got Luke, who's just really the best of us. I can't say enough nice things about Luke. We've got Ian, who is also wonderful. Ian also won the Patreon Oscar pool. So he got something very cool. And Matt, you'll be happy to know he likes what I sent because what I sent came from Matt's advice. So job well done, Matt. Billy is here.
That's my shit I get in Texas. Sorry, my bad.
Okay. I think the world of Billy. Billy is also our Power Hour MC, so do join us so you can see Billy in action. Then there's Evan, who is the Power Hour playlist curator. He puts a lot of work into that, and I applaud him for all the time and care he puts into it and making sure everyone in that Patreon Slack channel is on top of their shit. And then there's Efren. Efren is super cool. He pops into that Slack channel with purpose, and he is one of two people that joined my Patreon team because of fantasy football. So Efren will always have a very special place in my heart for that reason. I love my Patreon team so much. They're so cool. So you know what? You guys should all come hang out with us. We're going to go over there right now. So I'm going to end the broadcast really awkwardly because guess what I didn't do this week, Matt? I didn't make an end card.
Oh, we don't need an end card. I mean, someday we'll have an end card and it'll look super professional.
I know, but I set a goal for myself and I didn't meet it. I'll meet it next week.
You'll meet it next week. Don't worry about it.
All right, I'm pressing the button. We're going over there.
Press the button.